Welcome to Parenting Unscripted. I am your host, Katie Collette. A big thank you to Norfolk Public Schools for sponsoring this episode. Today, we are going to talk about a great community resource that is there to help any family who needs it. We are talking about the Up Center. And I want to read its mission statement because I just think it is so important. It says it is committed to partnering with children, families, and communities to improve lives and outcomes through prevention, intervention, and support services. So we have two experts here today to talk about everything the Up Center provides. We have Benita Thompson, who is a family resource specialist with the Up Center. And we also have Asia Jackson, who is a certified doula through the Up Center. Ladies, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so excited about this conversation because I know the Up Center is so great for our community. And I think it's so important for people to fully understand what the Up Center actually does for us. So Benita, let's share a little bit about your role first with the Up Center as a family specialist. What do you do?
So I am work with the Up Center's Healthy Families program. That's a home visit, one of the home visiting programs at the Up Center. I connect families to that resource, and sometimes I kind of connect them to other resources that exist within the Up Center or in the community that revolve around parenting. So we'll have families, sometimes they're looking for parenting classes, and I'll do a little research, or sometimes I have them on deck already. So I'll let them know what other resources are available to them depending on their area or their need. But the main thing I work on is I do the outreach and assessments for our families that participate in our program.
All right. Very good. And Asia, I know that people may think they know what a doula does, but can you give a little bit about, through the Up Center, how you work and operate as a doula?
Yes. So within my role at the Up Center, I am a doula, but my service support falls under the Parent Educator Program. So Parents as Teachers is a program that is structured around the parent being the first teacher for their child. And we've now incorporated doula services. This allows us to not only capture mom and what she's experiencing and what she's doing, but partnering with the parent educator so that we can structure a better journey through pregnancy, there for labor and delivery, there for postpartum, and better understanding her needs and the baby's needs as a combination. So it's kind of cool. We get to dual together. And so you not only have your parent educator, now you have your doula, and we can keep you safe, healthy, and to make sure you know how to best support yourself and your baby through that journey.
What I'm hearing from you both is something that I really enjoy, and it sounds like it's individualized care in a way. You meet with the families, you learn what they need, because as we know, parenting is certainly not one size fits all.
Yes.
No. So I think it's so important for people to know that when you go there, you are listening. You are actively listening to them to see what best suits their needs, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's the big part of what we do, is to make sure that it is individualized. I think that's something that kind of sets home visiting apart, is that we meet families where they are, and we don't try to have a set standard. While we might have a curriculum that we follow as far as the service we provide, that even is still something that we pick based off of what the family is doing, what their needs are. We do general assessments with our families. We talk to them, kind of seeing where are areas of need, where are your areas of strength, and then we kind of we center our services around that. And because home visiting works with them from pregnancy through their child started kindergarten, we're going through the motions with you. Therefore, we got to individualize it, because at any point in time, their experience is going to change. Like pregnancy can look very different. Postpartum is going to look different. Your child 1 being different, your child 2 being different. And if your child is screening positive for autism, then that's something else is going to look different. Right. And we're there to support you through that. So we have to really help navigate. And that's just the parenting portion. So that if that doesn't even include like the housing changes they're having, the job changes that they're having, the relationship changes that they might have, and sometimes it's even moving. So we kind of help them navigate that. And that's a big part of what we do, that we get to stay with them through that experience.
That's so huge, because it is, becoming a parent and raising children. We often say on this show, you don't know what you don't know.
Correct.
But it can be a little scary because you want to get it right. But how do you get it right when you're not sure how to do that, and you're not sure if you have the proper resources? I think, too, with these home visits, what I'm finding is the personal connection there. Asia, do you notice a difference with do we call them clients or those you work with? I'm not quite sure the proper phrase.
So our families, we support our families. And I think by just giving them that addressing them as such as families makes it a little bit more personal as well. We are in their space, especially as a doula. When I go with a parent educator, we're sitting, we're talking, and we're going to have vulnerable moments that are teaching us what their needs truly are. And as a doula, I'm in the labor and delivery room, so we're all in there together. You know, there has to be a rapport, there has to be a trust, there has to be a relationship that is established on healthy boundaries between the family and the home visitor, but also the boundaries of what's needed. Because at the end of the day, especially in my role as a doula, I'm again in that labor and delivery room. I have to know how to see what they're saying without them even speaking, and the only way to do that is to build that rapport. And the best part about it is, because I'm in such constant communication with the parent educator, now we have a full circle service that we are providing. And so, like we said, it's important for it to be person centered. We need to understand that their needs may vary from family to family, but if we step back and we look and we listen, that's all it takes for us to establish a rapport that strengthens that bond that we have with our families.
I think that's a valuable lesson for anybody to learn, is sometimes you need to just step back, look, and listen to what people need. Benita, can you explain what a home visit looks like? When you go in, what is it that you do? And you touched on it a little bit, but I want to go a little more in depth.
So since I'm the family resource specialist, so I'm just kind of the first point of contact for them. I don't do the ongoing visits, but I have experience with it because I participate in healthy families myself as a mom. So the home visit can look like whatever you think is going to look like, actually. So they'll come in, and sometimes they'll have a goal. And a lot of times, like if they're, depending on the age of the child, they've probably already sent some information of what they're going to talk about during the visit, or what to work on, a skill that kind of helps with development. And so there's just that kind of conversation of like, how did that go? Do you have any questions? Let's practice and see what that looks like. And then also kind of generally checking in on the parent to kind of see like, how are you doing? I was pregnant during the pandemic, and my home visitor was virtually with me, unfortunately, but fortunately.
Right.
And so she was doing a lot of like, how are things going? Like, how's breastfeeding going? Do you feel attached? And so she was able to kind of like talk to me about like the different stresses that I was dealing with as a parent. And then also kind of saying, okay, well, have you tried this? And here's something that we have to work on your child's eye movement. How did that go? Are you comfortable with doing that? I struggled a lot with tummy time. So she was like, so did you try tummy time? How about trying it on your chest? Did you try it on the floor? How about right now you get down on the floor and let's try tummy time and see how that goes. And I don't know why I struggle with tummy time. I just think generationally, I wasn't used to the concept. So, but a lot of our parents have that challenge that they're like kind of trying to do something very different than they experienced themselves or saw around them. And so having somebody show you like, hey, this is an easy way to do it, is what the focus of that kind of like the visit is. And it's usually about an hour. We try to keep it around an hour. I tell people you're committing to the hour, but of course it can extend further than that. And then sometimes it is shorter than that, but about an hour once a week. Parents as Teachers does it every other week. So they're doing twice a month. Healthy Families is a little bit more intensive for our families that might have a little bit more need for support. And so we just kind of connect with them, and you're talking about all the things. I talked about all the things.
Oh yeah. And
Everything possible.
Oh yeah. And I think that, like she said earlier, we have a curriculum, right? So this curriculum is thousands of pages long for healthy families and parents as teachers. And so the beauty of it is we may even go in with a plan. We try to make sure that we're addressing those goals that they have. But when you walk into a home, sometimes those goals might be different for the day. And so knowing also how to adjust is important in our role. Knowing that when we walk in the door, mom may have had a really rough day and is not understanding how does she process what she's enduring, but also support her children's needs. So say she has a young toddler and an infant. They're both fussy. Everybody's upset. She needs to make dinner. And she's like, I had the worst day at work. How do I process? How do I get through that? Our curriculum offers us things such as coping strategies. So it's easier for us to adjust and pull techniques and tools that can be utilized in that moment. Like Benita said, let's do it right now. Like, let's stop in this moment. Let's actually take a deep breath. Let's get the kids involved in deep breathing. Because again, especially in PET, we are teaching our children what they see us do is what they're going to represent. So if we invite the whole family, let's stop and let's practice some deep breathing.
That's wonderful. And I want to dive deeper into this, but we have to hit our first break. Oh, yeah. Because I knew when I met you two, when we were chatting, I was like, oh, we're going to go over so much time. We're going to hit that first break, and then we will be right back. So everyone stay with us for this episode of Parenting Unscripted. We will be right back.
Yes.
Whether you're already working in education or aspiring to, then say yes to NPS. Norfolk Public Schools are currently hiring in the following positions. NPS offers the highest salaries and sign-on bonuses in Hampton Roads, plus a work lifestyle you'll love. Say yes to NPS.
Welcome back to Parenting Unscripted, where we are continuing our conversation about the Up Center and all of the benefits that it provides. We are once again joined by Benita Thompson, who is a family resource specialist with the Up Center, and also Asia Jackson, who is a certified doula with the Up Center. So we have a problem in that we can't stop talking. So let's jump in and get right back to it. We're having a little too much fun. Let's talk about these home visits and how they benefit the children specifically. Whichever one of you would like to take the lead on that, feel free.
I think the easiest thing to say is that it helps address the milestones. That's the focus of the service, is really to help make sure our children are meeting the milestones. Like, your child is going to go to the doctor several times in their early childhood experience, especially the first few years. They're constantly there, and they'll do screenings every time. And whether or not the doctor is able to follow up on those screenings is up in the air. Just honestly depends on their service and experience. But what is guaranteed is that your home visitor is. We do the screenings that are there. We're doing the activities that are suggested, and we're recommending those for the families. We're practicing those because we want to make sure your child is developing at a good and healthy level. And if they're not, we're catching it in time to connect you to resources that might be beneficial. So sometimes that's early intervention. Sometimes that actually could, that could be CPS, that could be counseling, that could be activity. Sometimes we're just telling them, sometimes they might need to be more physical. Sometimes I might need to do a sport. Sometimes I might need to go to the library. And so they're helping them connect the dots for their family, and so that a child gets their needs met. And that a family feels supported in meeting their child's needs and know that they're not alone in doing that. So that's a big part of what we're doing, is that we're just connecting the family and making sure that the child is developing at a healthy pace, and that they're connected when they aren't developing at a healthy pace.
And I think also just acknowledging if there are multiple children in the home, that we're addressing each child individually. A lot of times, one child might have more severe needs than another, and so it can be complicated. So being able to meet your child where they are, exposure is everything. So when we're exposing parents to this education and this information and working with them, now their child gets the benefit, because now they understand, this is who my child is, this is how my child thrives, this is how my child learns. Let me take the time to address that individually for each child that I may have, or for the one child I have, and truly allow them to thrive and utilize the resources that I'm being connected to so that they can do so.
I think that really builds confidence as a mom as well, when you feel like, I get it now. I understand when my child is doing this, they might actually need this to help. And gosh, what a benefit that is. Benita, do you find that it has a greater impact on a mom's mentality and her mindset?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that we're looking for when we talk to our families, is kind of, do they feel more confident in their parenting journey? And 99% of our families say they do, if not 100. Depends on the week, I'm sure, with the families.
Right.
But they all say they feel more confident in their ability to meet their child's needs, because especially when we have families with multiple young ones, it can be very challenging, because every child's personality and temperament is not the same, but that mama's temperament is going to be the same. So she has to be able to pivot for each individual's child, no matter where they are. And so being able to feel like I can do that, and that I know that when I can't, I can send a text message, hey, I'm struggling, I don't really know what to do. Or when they know they're going to have a visit coming up, they can say, like, this is what I'm struggling at. Like, I'm not really sure what to do, or my child has been hitting the other child. What do I do? They tend to feel confident. And any mom we've had moms that come from different cities, and they come here and like, I got to get a part of home visiting, because it's something that I need to navigate my parenting journey. And we know that that's like the best part. That's what we want to see.
Yeah. And Asia, I wanted to ask you about the doula portion of this, because I know a lot of times people think of doulas and they're the ones that help you through the childbirth process. And yes, that is true, but you also do so much more than that.
Yes.
Can you dive into that a little?
Yeah, so I want to jump in and say that we are not medical. So though I am a state certified doula, we are not medical providers. So when I am looking at servicing my families, I'm looking at it from an aspect of emotionally, what is going on, mentally, what is going on, what referral sources do I need to provide for your mental well-being, physically, what are you feeling, what are the changes you're enduring. So everything that I am doing is evidence-based and strengthened around knowing that mom can trust her her body and understand what she is going through, and building the confidence for her to advocate for herself in the medical setting. So we see a lot of disparities in maternal health, especially when it comes to women of color, but also just in general lately, honestly, there's been an increase in spike in some concerns that moms are enduring. So when you are feeling this beautiful life that is forming inside of you and your mind is starting to shift, your body's starting to shift, a lot of times a mom is kind of, in distress of, oh, what's happening with my body? Like, what's going on? Or I brought this up to my doctor and they said it's normal, but I feel so off. I feel like everything's changing. Or I have a mom, she just kept saying like, something just feels wrong. Something just feels wrong. And so we sat down and what does that feeling wrong look like? What does that feeling wrong, mean to you? And then sitting and giving her the power. Okay, so we know that during this time frame of your pregnancy, you're going to experience XYZ. So you're going to experience some stretching in your uterine region as a baby is growing and developing. So you're going to feel tugging, pulling, but is it a sharp pain? Is it a dull ache? What is your description of this so that now you can go back to your provider and say, hey, I know that this is normal. I know that I should feel some stretching and tugging and pulling. However, I'm getting some sharp stabbing pains centralized to one side, and I'm having other symptoms such as swelling in my hands and in my face. Then we start to creep into other things. Now we're like, okay, maybe we're having a different conversation.
Right.
Because now we've sat down in our doula session, we've had this elaborate explanation of what the body's enduring, what's normal and what may not be normal, so that mom can go back and have that conversation. So as doulas,
I do want to stop you just one second because we do have to go right back into another break here because we're going to pick up more about what you're doing as a doula on the other side of the break. So stick with us because it's a really important conversation and I want you all to hear it. We will be right back. Welcome back to Parenting Unscripted. We want to jump right back into our conversation about the Up Center and all of the services that it provides. I do feel, though, ladies, like it would take days and days to be able to talk about everything it provides. Before we went to the break, Asia, you were talking about the role of a doula. So I want to pick back up where we left off. And it's really about giving the mother confidence and understanding her body, and then also what happens after childbirth.
Yeah. So we talked about the advocacy part and just making sure mom is confident with advocating for herself and having her voice be heard because it's her body and her baby. But also as a doula, I am hands-on. Like doulas are physically there for you. We are going to squeeze some hips. We are going to squat down and rock with you. Even if you have an epidural, we are going to flip you from side to side and help engage that baby and understand when they tell you you are dilated at 3 centimeters and you're 100% effaced and your baby's at a -2 station. What does that really mean?
Right.
We're going to know what it means and we can explain it to you better and help you be supported in knowing, okay, we're going to do these positions to navigate your baby down. But also that postpartum piece is something serious. As someone who is 6 months postpartum myself, I think it's important to understand how doulas are there to navigate postpartum care. It's a very hands-on thing, light housework, support for mom, support for baby, making sure mom's eating, drinking.
Yeah.
If she needs referrals to mental health services, making sure that's addressed. If breastfeeding is her goal, making sure she gets to see that CLC or IBCLC, ensuring that it's done in a timely manner just makes a difference. Knowing that if something's off, what is baby blues versus postpartum depression?
Yes.
Really diving into acknowledging what mom is experiencing and sharing. A lot of times as a doula, I'll get a little bit more than what family may get. And so wrapping that back around at the Up Center, having that parent educator or healthy families, even sometimes we coordinate together to give that support and know this is how we can support this mom in this postpartum period. Plenty of times, unfortunately, I don't get to serve my healthy families. However, plenty of times they have also reached out and said, hey, do you have a doula that can step into this role out in the community? And I've been able to send a doula that way. So it really is important to know that what we do as a doulas is so valued, but not understood. And so hopefully people will see this and they hear it and now they're like, oh, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually what makes what we do at the Up Center unique because we're, as far as I know, I don't think any other home visiting program in the Hampton Roads area also combines that service with a doula. So this is a pilot program that we've had. Granted, we've had a doula kind of a part of the program on the low for a while, but because I had a doula assigned with mine, but they're there to kind of help give eyes and that extra support to work on that maternal care and that maternal health piece, which sometimes can be missed. I think one of the things I always tell families is that it's something to be seen by a home visitor. And I don't mean that like they're just seeing you physically. It means they're like literally seeing you struggling. That's one of the things that I love the most and I appreciate the most with my experience was that I was at home pregnant and then had my baby and I'm just over here alone and I was struggling with postpartum. And if it had not been for my home visitor screening me, I do not know if anybody would have seen that I was struggling.
They see the unseen.
And I was around family and nobody really knew that I was struggling. And because of that, they were able to refer to the Up Center's perinatal mental health counseling. We actually have a certified perinatal mental health counselor.
Wow.
And so they were able to get me connected and I was able to get the support, but nobody else would have known. And I'm filling out the little depression screenings at the pediatrician's office and
like,
nobody knew. And so having the doula support there, they're adding that postpartum care that you're honestly just not going to get in the way that we do it anywhere else, even if you do have it with your insurance. And that's what the beauty of it is that this is free.
There's no cost.
This is free.
Yeah.
This is voluntary doula and direct support care.
Yeah. And I really do want you to be able to emphasize that to everyone, because as people are listening, so many times we tell people if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. But in this case, it is a free service that the Up Center is providing.
Yes. And you can go to the website if you have access. There is a link for you to fill out for home visiting requests. The best part about it all is because we have healthy families and parents as teachers, we can navigate what your needs are and which program would best suit you and fit your needs. Again, there's no cost to this service. It is voluntary. You are not required to participate. The only thing is for doula services, you do have to participate in PAT to receive doula services. And if you don't qualify for PAT, then you go through Healthy Families. We will still ensure that you are connected to a doula out in the community that can take your insurance. There are plenty of doulas out there doing this work as well. So if you're under Healthy Families, that does not mean that you can go without those services too.
Wow. I just think what you offer is so special and it is so important to the community. Benita, within 30 seconds, explain to everyone why you're so passionate about this and why you want them to be involved.
Because honestly, it's one of the best services and supports that is accessible for our families in the Hampton Roads area. I cannot emphasize enough to have somebody see you and your family and be intentional about meeting your family's needs is a invaluable service and support.
It sounds like it. And I mean, we've done stories here at Wavy on the Up Center so many times, but being able to sit and have an in-depth conversation with you both has been even more eye-opening for me. I know it's been eye-opening for all of our viewers today. So thank you both so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
This is great.
Of course. Can't wait to have you back on. Hint, hint.
We'll do it again.
Coming back.
Anytime.
And everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Parenting Unscripted. Remember, new episodes of Parenting Unscripted air right here on Wavy Plus every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. I hope you enjoyed this episode and a very important conversation, and have a great day. Be good.